Switching over now to the Rams storylines, Gilbert, and I wanted to save this. I wanted to talk about it post game, but I felt like we kind of needed a little bit more time, and this is the perfect time to kind of talk about here when it comes to the Rams. And it has to do with Sean McVay. Sean McVay, I mean, there's no debating it, right? Sean McVay is an elite play caller, but once again, he got exposed. His coach, his game management got exposed on Sunday, and and especially in that second half, Gilbert. One of the things is, as a coach, he manages a game too conservatively, as we've seen in the second half, compared to the other coaches in the NFC. Like we saw with Dan Campbell, where the game was on the line. What does he do? He goes for it on fourth down to that pass to Amon-Ra St. Brown, and they win the game. You look at like the Eagles as well, where they were aggressive on fourth down. It feels like with Sean McVay, he plays it conservatively because he always relies on his play calling. And I'll give you a bunch of examples in that game, Gilbert, against the Eagles, where they were in the second quarter. There was 4th and 3 from the Eagles 15-yard line. He just settles for a field goal there to make it 16-7. Then during the 2-minute drill at the end of the first half, they have the ball in Eagles territory. He settles again for another field goal instead of being aggressive there. Then in the third quarter, it's 4th and 2. They're at the Eagles 49. They punt again. And lastly, 4th and 2, Gilbert. This is where you had a chance to put this game away. You had the ball at the Eagles 18, again with the whole red zone thing. 8:46 to go in the game. And again, he settled for a field goal. And next thing you know, two block field goals, and you lose the game. You could have gone up there. If you gone for it on fourth down there, you score a touchdown there. You put the game away. Instead, you try to go for the field goal, you get it blocked, and then we know the rest of the story. So it just, like, as great as he is as a play caller, Gilbert, is this going to end up costing him going forward, like his game management, and where can he improve here? Because it's gotten really bad when it comes to his game management.
Yeah, you don't blow a 19-point second half lead just because your players are not doing anything right. It's the coaching too. You're the coach. You're in charge to stop the bleeding. You're in charge to put your players in positions to succeed, execute, and deliver. That's coaching. A collapse that big is on coaching. There was, like you laid it out right now, there was countless opportunities to make it better, to stop the bleeding, help out your team. He couldn't do it. You cannot play safe football, play not to lose in Philadelphia. You're seeing your secondary struggling after they adjusted, and you didn't have another adjustment. Like, yeah, your first plan worked, but then they came back at halftime. Credit to Nick Sirianni, Kevin Patullo, credit to Big Fangio. They adjusted. Your coaching staff did not. You're supposed to have, even on Chris Shula's side, you're supposed to have a very good defense. You get lit up in the secondary. What can you do better to this time put more pressure on Jalen, or put pressure on Jalen Hurts for 4 quarters? They did not do it. That's all in the coaching. But maybe a game like this is where maybe you get a wake-up call for Sean McVay. And I feel like it's become a theme where we do criticize Sean McVay, the play caller. We do criticize Sean McVay, the late game management, decision maker. But for the most part, he tends to figure it out. And that's what makes him great. He knows how to adjust week to week, and maybe it doesn't happen in games, and that's probably a weakness of his game. And we think about too much of the beautiful play calls, the beautiful designs, the production. We think about all that. So he's not a perfect coach, but for the most part, he evens out. He is better than most coaches. So I always, when it comes to Sean McVay, panic a button or slander, I'm always like, he's gonna figure it out. I freak out about a lot of things. I'm negative, I'm pessimistic for a whole lot of things, and people know this. You've been watching us for the last few years, but when it comes to Sean McVay, I just kind of say he's gonna figure it out. So again, like we mentioned in the start of the show, it's a perfect bounce back game for various reasons, especially Sean McVay. You're facing a good coach in Shane Steichen. You've mentioned this before too, Vic. Shane Steichen came from the Nick Sirianni tree in Philadelphia. He was there for a couple of years. He could probably pick the brain of Sirianni. How do you do it against the Rams? Like, it's all going to be a benefit to him. So He better be on his A game. Anarumo also an experience. He was a coordinator. You have the better talent, but you got to execute when it comes to coaching as well. So let's see if he figures it out this week, and
Yeah,
definitely be
and
more aggressive. I'm with you.
yeah, and I it just, and it's not just McVay. It's like some of the guys from that tree, the Shanahans, like the Lafleur. We saw what happened against the Browns too. Like the hipster coaches just seem to, not have the, as they say, the balls to go for it. And you have, like you said, you've been on this about the meathead guys like the Nick Sirianni's, and and the Dan Campbell's. Like, they're aggressive, even though everybody just assumes like, oh, these guys don't know football because they're just coaches. And then the other thing too, and I thought somebody brought up a good point, is like from USA expat, McVay might need some tough love from his assistant coaches in regards to game management. And I go back to this. You wrote about this, Gilbert. You've been talking about this, and this is why I brought this up. Is you've said you don't like the fact that a lot of these head coaches, like the Shanahans, like the Lafleur, they like calling plays instead of just being the head coach. Let other guys do their job. Hire an offensive coordinator to call plays. Hire a defensive coordinator to run the defense. I feel like these hipster coaches want to be able to do everything, and I feel like if you take that away from him, he can concentrate on being a better game manager. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, I'm loving that. You're kind of the negative one here. You're the one that's freaking out. Hipster coaches, I love that one. I'm gonna start taking that one. These damn hipster coaches, because
Yeah.
it's good to be on the other side. But yeah, I think you have a point too, Victor, because there's a reason why. Maybe that's the connection. Like, he's struggling with game management because he's too focused on play calling. Like, you can't do everything if you have. It's such an important role, play calling. Like, when your defense is out there, you're focused on what Stafford did. You're trying to review the plays to adjust. How can you be delegating the whole team when you're so focused on one thing? And so that could be part of it too. And I'll say it again, and because you brought it up, and it came to mind too this week, and I wrote about it because Brian Callahan, the Titans coach, gave up play calling. You should have done that a long time ago. And maybe it's a little harsh to say never be a play caller if you're the head coach. But I made a rule, and I wrote about it. If you're a rookie head coach, first time being a head coach in the NFL, you should not be allowed to call plays your first year. Go learn how to be a CEO, learn and make sure special teams, defense, and offense are operating properly. And also make sure that you're focused on game management. You're making decisions like Dan Campbell, Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh's been struggling in late game situations, but coaches that don't call plays have been around for a long time. I'm sure it's easier to just kind of, when your moment comes to make a decision, you're not thinking about other things. Also, you're able to kind of just, okay, what's going on here, what's going on over there. Even guys like Raheem Morris in Atlanta, he finally said, Jeff Ulbrich, I know
Yep.
defense, but can you help me out? Call the plays. Like, that's fine. I love that. But to Sean McVay's credit, he makes it work. He won a Super Bowl. He's usually in the playoffs. Besides that one year I was there because I cursed that
Yeah.
team in 2022. Kyle Shanahan the same way. And I wrote about also with the Brian Callahan situation. Coaches have egos. Coaches are too competitive. They think they could do what Sean McVay does. They think they could do what Kyle Shanahan does. And the ones that say, I don't care about that, my ego doesn't hurt. Dan Campbell, perfect example. I'm here to just give you a blueprint, instill foundation, instill culture, set the standard, and here's the DNA how we're gonna operate. Can you do that? That's what CEOs do. They just kind of make sure things are running smoothly. When all eyes on you and the moment comes to make a decision, then it's time your time to shine. And that's why guys like Sirianni and Campbell shine, because they have less to do and they're ready for the moment. I'm not saying Sean McVay should give up play calling. He's great
No.
at it. He's done it, but it's becoming a pattern where he does has these blunders here, and say maybe it's been a couple years, Vic, where they haven't, like, it's one thing to make it to the playoffs, but you got to win some damn Super Bowls again, right? You can't just have one Super Bowl. Like, Mike Tomlin only had one. John Harbaugh has one. So at some point, you gotta not let this be a hindrance, or that's that a word? I think it is. Because I feel like they kind of have a ceiling, right? They have a roof there, and it's like divisional round. But how can you become Super Bowl contenders? And maybe it is game management, Vic.
Yeah. And I mean, I was thinking about it with him, and he's not gonna give up game management. He's not gonna give up play calling as he should. It. He's a great play caller. I think just at the end of the day, you just wanna, he and he's even said it. Like that's the thing too that kind of made me think about this, Gilbert. Two of the three games so far post game, he's criticized his own self with the play calling, and we'll get into the whole red zone thing too. But yeah, he's kind on himself, and it might be something where he might need to kind of take some responsibilities off his shoulder, and and we'll see what happens. But he's such a great play caller that I just I don't see him doing that, and he shouldn't. But yeah, the game management thing, he needs to
And
and they hired somebody. Remember, they brought a guy from the Titans over to help him with that. Or did he leave to go join the Patriots? I forget, but maybe that's what happened. Because I know
yeah,
it was Brable's guy who came
it might have
over
been Nick
last
Haley.
year.
Might have been
Yeah,
Nick Haley who went to the Houston, but I forget. But here's the other thing too, and people kind of overlook it too because Sean McVay has a good way of yeah, I'm gonna hog the play calling, but I'm gonna let you have a moment in the preseason. Other coaches don't do that, and he kind of looks
right.
good for that. Here, yeah, I'm a good guy. Here you go, Aubrey Pleasant. And call some plays here. Here, Eric Henderson. Call some plays. Here's Chris Shula. Call some plays here in the preseason, and then his guys are always ready for when they go be coaches elsewhere and call plays. It's like I got them ready. Don't call me a
Yeah.
hogger here of plays. So he kind of gets by with that too. But why can't Sean McVay just let other people get the shine, like Dan Campbell? But I get it. Like he's really good at what he does. But it'll be kind of cool if he just lets other people shine. Like I love seeing John Morton, the OC of the Lions, get his shine on Monday night. I love seeing Kelvin Shepard, defensive coordinator, who's only 37 years old, get his shine there for the Lions. Like so to me, that's the way guys get better. And when you're hogging play calling, this is a whole different topic. But you know, how can coaches around you get better? But to Sean McVay's credit, his tree is pretty good.
Yeah, you can honestly, you can't hate on it. I mean, you see, like the half the teams in the NFL are pretty much from the Sean McVay tree. So he's done a great job with that.